What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise Postgame Show powered by BetUS. Today, we celebrate the end of 2024 with 2025 on the horizon. The Blazers is their final encore for the year. Turn over the ball 26 times en route to a 125-103 loss against the Philadelphia 76ers. This was the sloppiest game of the year. Chauncey Billups returned for this matchup, and the Blazers got back to their losing ways. And to start off the stream, I want to give a shout-out to Cronin with a $5 donation. He says, Bjorkgren finished December with more wins than Chauncey. 2-0 versus 1-10. But how much of tonight was due to Chauncey Billups? How much of tonight was due to the Blazers seemingly forgetting how to hold on to a basketball or pass it to a teammate? We're going to break it all down. We're also going to talk memories from 2024 as well as some New Year's resolutions, amongst maybe some trade talk, draft talk. We got a ton that we can always talk about on each post-game show this time of year. Eric, how's it going, man?
Oh, great. Back to watching the blowout loss.
Yeah, did you miss them?
Yeah, so much. There was something else from this game we have to talk about, Tori.
Yeah, what was that?
You might have missed it, but before the game, there was a surprise Joe Cronin interview.
Oh, what? I completely missed that.
It was so bad, they only aired part of his answer on two players and then cut it off and said they'd maybe show some snippets some other games.
What? I will be honest, I completely missed this.
Yeah.
Well, you got to tell me what the question and answer was. We got to jump right into this before we jump into the game because I completely missed this.
Well, so they come back from commercial and it's just they jump right into him talking about Scoot, like obviously the middle of an interview. And he, of course, was, talking about Scoot and stuff like that. And now Scoot's a 20-year-old who is trying to learn the toughest position there is. And fans need to understand that, he said, all that kind of stuff. And then he talked about Sharpe having like a chill demeanor, and he talked a lot about his clutch performances and stuff like that. There was his ability to score in the clutch, and that was pretty much it. And then they cut it off and said they might show some on a future game or something. Like it was so strange. Like, how do you interview the general manager and not even show the interview? Like, that's so weird, man.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the Blazers, right? They don't want to speak on anything during the season. Joe Cronin does the bare minimum in terms of interviews. You never hear a peep from Jody Allen regarding anything. And basically, it's Chauncey Billups there to answer all the questions as the only guy outside of the players. Well, Nate Bjorkgren when he was coaching. But the front office, they don't answer questions. So it's very fitting and kind of funny that, oh, wow, there's an interview that wasn't after the draft or on media day or at the end of the season or after the trade deadline, right? Those are the 4 times a year we hear from Joe Cronin. But we finally got an interview outside of those 4 times. But no, we're going to get it drip fed to us in a way where, if Cronin didn't like any answers that he gave, he can revoke them and not have them shown or seen or heard. So that's very typical of the Portland Trail Blazers.
Super says you got to drip feed the cronies. You can't give too much of the rock star. Wow.
Oh man. Yeah.
So I was kind of half paying attention before the game started, and then I was like, oh, Joe Cronin's talking, and then I was like, oh, dang it, I missed the beginning of the interview, and I was talking to Rich for a minute at one of the timeouts, and he's like, oh, like, you gotta send me that or whatever, because he didn't get the Blazer feed of the game or whatever. And so I'm like, okay, halftime, I'm going to go back and record it. And it literally just, like I said, just started with him talking about Scoot. There wasn't even really a question asked. And and then they just cut it off after his second answer was Sharpe. And I was like, okay, I did see it all. Like, it was so weird, man.
Yeah. Weird stuff, man. Taylor Packer had a comment saying the interview, to him at least, was preparing us for Cronin to make no moves at the deadline. And we talked a little bit earlier on our second channel. If you're not subscribed, you are missing great conversations that we have there on Mondays and Thursdays. We go live around 4 p.m. Pacific time. We had a conversation earlier today on that second channel talking about Jeremy Grant and in relation to the Dorian Finney-Smith trade and how that definitely is not good news for the Portland Trailblazers trying to trade Jeremy Grant, that Dorian Finney-Smith ended up on the Lakers for the biggest expiring contract they have and only 3 second-round picks. And, you know, it's we'll go into depth maybe a little bit more later today, but I do agree with Taylor Packer. It's starting to feel like it's going to be a very inactive trade deadline, and it's a trade deadline that needs to be active. It's a trade deadline where you got to send out DeAndre Ayton or Robert Williams. I think it's more likely to be Robert Williams considering he barely played tonight, has been barely playing lately. You'll hear stuff from the Blazers talking about how they like having him on the team and they value him and this and that, but I think that's just them trying to talk their way into more of a return, you know, talk up his value to them so they're not out-leveraged. I don't think they're going to be able to get rid of Ayton. I think the center that they'll ultimately get rid of is going to be Robert Williams III. Outside of that, it's tough to expect a trade for Jeremy Grant at this point in time with his play. He missed tonight's game with a facial contusion, and it just feels like things are slowly going that route of inactivity. And it's funny because, you know, we're used to the Blazers front office being inactive. When Joe Cronin first became GM, there was hope that things would be a little bit different, you know, than they were under Neil Olshey. That has not really been the case, and I feel like we're getting better and better at identifying when inactivity is coming ahead of time, right? And I feel like it's going to be a letdown for a lot of Blazer fans at this upcoming trade deadline where you just don't have much happen. I would not be shocked if Ayton and Grant are still on this team post-deadline, and then we go into the offseason trying to figure out what the hell we're doing with our roster as we continue on the 2 timelines trek. You know, we're in a rebuild, but we're paying Ayton and Grant $65 million a year to block younger players that are a part of our future. You know, it's contradictory. So it just feels like things are going that route. You know, I didn't plan on having this conversation at the start of the stream, but that interview, you know, just reminded me of Cronin, and just be prepared for that to potentially be the case. And be prepared for the way that Joe Cronin would ultimately try and excuse that, because he won't go out there and say, yeah, there's no market for these guys. And to be honest, he can't really say that. But you'll hear a bunch of stuff like, you know, we like having these guys around. Ayton has been a great mentor for Klingon. And, you know, Jeremy Grant has been the ultimate professional and a really good example for the young guys. And they'll talk up their reasons for keeping these guys, even though they really cannot keep them. So I feel like that's right around the corner, Eric.
Yeah, and if that's the case, just know that Cronin created the position he's in right now. So don't buy that he, like, oh, I was stuck in this position. There's nothing I can do about it. No, you chose to hold on to these guys until they lapsed value. Just like allegedly, the Nets turned down 2 protected firsts at last trade deadline for Dorian Finney-Smith, and so you got to take advantage of those situations when they become available. And if you're a rebuilding team, especially, you can't hold on for your players too long. Look at what happened with some of the guys in Toronto. I mean, really, the McHale trade is the only one that you can really say recently where a team did as good or better value-wise for like not trading them sooner rather than later.
Yeah. It sucks, man. It sucks. The Blazers most likely waited too long on Jeremy Grant, but we'll talk a little bit more about trades low on when we take your questions, because I'm sure, chat, you guys will have questions about trades. Let's recap this game for the Portland Trailblazers, Eric.
There's another turnover.
Oh, wow. Look, another fast break bucket for the Philadelphia 76ers. Yeah, that was tonight's game for you guys. It was ugly. This one wasn't as big of a blowout as other games, but it might have been the most miserable game considering they're coming off a 2-game winning streak. And I know I say 2-game winning streak like it's a 10-game winning streak, but for this team, winning multiple games in a row is a pretty big deal. You know, you're coming off this 2-game winning streak, and you come out and you turn over the ball 26 times, and it was just miserable, man. I mean, like, they were fumbling handoffs, and listen, we don't give the opponent enough credit on post-game shows at times, I feel like, and you do have to give Philadelphia some credit. They were very active defensively, and they got their hands on a lot of balls, man. They got their hands on a lot of balls. And, you know, Deni turned over the ball 10 times, career high. We know he's super aggressive, and that aggressiveness bit him today. It's been serving him very, very well for a while this season, but today it did not. He still scored the ball pretty well, but driving into the paint, Philadelphia with Embiid at the rim, collapsed really well, just got a lot of deflections, got a lot of strips, and the Blazers, on top of that, compounded it with passes that were very off target. You know, Deni Avdija threw a pass between Anthony Simons' legs. Anthony Simons threw a pass 2 feet behind a rolling Robert Williams, and it was against the zone too, and he just completely threw it away. Scoot fumbling a handoff. I mean, you name it, this team found a way to commit basically every type of turnover that you could commit, back-to-back illegal screens, and it was just disgusting basketball. And you know what's funny, Eric, is it's kind of a fitting way for this team to end the year of 2024 by going out completely sad, going out super sloppy, not being able to score the ball, and not being able to defend because you had Gershon Yabusele cooking you on the other end. So very fitting end to the year, man, and just very, very, I don't know, miserable game after a couple of good ones. It sucks.
So do you think any of it, let's just jump right into it, any of it had to do with Billups coming back and manning the sideline versus Nate, and or do you think it's just we played a team that's playing really well right now in the 76ers?
You know what I want to do? I want to ask chat first before I give my answer, Eric.
All right.
Okay, so chat, on a scale of 1 to 4, how much do you blame the turnovers on Chauncey Billups? All right, we only got 4 options, right? So 4 equals most blame, 1 equals least blame. All right?
That's turnovers?
The turnovers, or do you just want to say the loss in general?
Yeah, just say the loss, because, I mean, obviously the turnovers, he's not out there losing the ball or whatever.
All right. And then, Eric, ultimately, I'll give my number, you can give your number, and while chat votes in that poll, shout out to Chris S., member for 46 months, says, just got back from Moda. It's so much more obvious in person that this team is dialing it effort-wise. I think he means like mailing it in. Inbounds plays were disgusting. New coach, please. Yeah, I mean, the effort, the first game under Bjorkgren was better, and even the second game under Bjorkgren was better. I think that's what you can point to the most. Right now, the initial results from this chat poll, 39% give it a 3, 36% give it a 4, 19% give it a 2, and 6% give it a 1. Eric, what do you want me to answer first, or do you want to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I, believe it or not, give it a 2. I think the lack of effort is the main thing that you can really talk about. I think offensively, the first half, they might have had the best half-court action that they've had all season. They had multiple, I think, good half-court action stuff in the first half, and not good by an NBA standard. I mean, good by the Portland Trailblazers standard, which is through the basement. Okay. And you had a bunch of plays where guys just dribble down into a packed defense and they play good defense, or just, you know, fumbling the ball, making a bad pass, right? A lot of the turnovers it was the Blazers' fault. If they turn over the ball 15 times instead of 26, this is probably a game, right? Defensively, they tried to be more aggressive on pick and rolls. That's something that we've asked for, and it kind of got picked apart. They just don't do a good enough job rotating back out of aggressive pick and roll coverages. So if you really want to blame Chauncey for this, I think it's more so like, okay, the effort just is worse under him than it was the past couple of games, because schematically there's maybe a couple nitpicks. I know you had a tweet, Eric, talking about how they did not run an action for Sharpe for the first 6 minutes, and I agree that's kind of silly when the dude's been having great game after great game. You got to do more to scheme these guys up, but that's kind of been an issue, and there were some rough offensive stretches under Bjorkgren too. So I'll give it a 2. I know that's not what most people think, but that's what I give it. What do you give it, Eric?
I was right there with you. But then, I thought about stuff like, okay, first play of the game, we run a nicely designed off-ball screen to get like a flare screen kind of to the corner for a wide-open Anthony 3. And it's like, okay, it worked yet again, a set play to get one of your guards going, and then we do like nothing to do.
We did run another play, which was basically worked like a flare, but it was like a skip pass to Klingon into a quick handoff that essentially served as a flare screen.
Klingon didn't come in until like 7 or 8 minutes into the first quarter, right?
I mean, like I said,
or that was even longer.
I think first half we ran some good half court action by our own standards. By NBA standards, not good. So
the good thing is we flipped the dribble handoffs in the first half. We had them going towards the middle of the paint instead of away from the paint. Yeah. So that helped, and I thought that was good, I guess, better than the normal dribble handoffs. Did that a couple times, but
yeah. And we also had a set. They ran a pick and roll with Klingon, and then Simons came in and screened the guy guarding Klingon while the pick and roll was taking place. I forget what the phrase is for that action, but and it was a lob to Klingon, right? So there was a few moments in the first half I was like, man, that's stuff they need to run more. Yeah. But yeah, I agree. If you're holding them to an NBA standard, they just get too stagnant. They don't run enough stuff that actually works when they do run it.
So I was left wondering in this game.
Yeah, Spain. That's yeah.
Okay, we talk a lot about Shaden's inconsistencies with asserting himself, right?
Yeah.
But some of that is like, I felt like, if you're not doing anything to get him involved either, if you're running plays for other people or letting other people hold or do dribble handoffs and not him, is that, I mean, maybe it's not necessarily his fault. Maybe he's like, part of the offense is him. Literally, he's supposed to, on those plays, stand in the corner, and he's supposed to be there. And how is he supposed to be assertive and aggressive if none of the plays are for him, or we're not doing anything to get him involved or get a guy who's averaging like 20-some points per game over his last few games going at the beginning of a game? It makes no sense to me, Tori. Like, and so it left me wondering, like, why are we giving Chauncey a pass for like not getting these guys involved?
Yeah, I mean, that may be true. I also think there was times when it was clear the Blazers were not in a set play, and Sharpe should have been more aggressive in trying to A, go get the ball, B, if he had the ball, making something happen for himself. It just felt like the first half he just kind of disappeared and was floating around. But you heard Scoot's comment after that game winner, taking that shot, it's better than sitting in the corner, right? Mm-hmm. Which was an interesting comment. And it's tough not to really wonder if Chauncey is holding back guys like Sharpe and guys like Scoot. Because Sharpe and Scoot had, like, that 2-game stretch under Bjorkgren was maybe the best combination of Sharpe plus Scoot that we've seen for a 2-game stretch.
Yeah.
Right? And Is that a coincidence? How much of that is a coincidence? How much of that is you did not have Chauncey Billups on the sideline? That is the toughest part to me, because you can make a case either way. It's ambiguous, but the correlation is interesting. The comment from Scoot is interesting, and the difference in the way the teams looked is interesting, and could be much more than just a coincidence.
Yeah, I mean, we do have to say the 2 games we won were against the depleted Mavericks team and a Utah Jazz team. So, and Philadelphia, even though their record still isn't great, that's coming around. But I mean, they said tonight this was only the 6th game that their big 3, Maxey, George, and Embiid, all played and finished a game together without one of them getting hurt or ejected or something. So, I mean, they look pretty good, but so then, Tori, I was like, okay, like maybe I need to calm down. Maybe it's just a case of, the turnovers are happening, things aren't being executed well on the court this game. So maybe you can't read 100% into it either way. But, Tori, I think we might have a potential coach on our roster, and it's not Nate Bjorkgren.
Where are you going with this one?
It is Sergey Oliva.
Oh, just because of his interview, or what?
Dude, did you hear it? Did you hear that?
Yeah, but before we go here, we were impressed by what Chauncey had to say before he became coach. Chauncey said all the right things, so.
Here's the difference, though, Tori. What is Sergey actually doing?
Coaching a G League team.
He wants to play fast, and they're the fastest team in the G League right now. And they're playing at a huge tempo. And what he said to that, we can play even faster. Like, he wants to play even faster. And they were like, is that even possible? And he's like, yeah, like we could play faster. So he's actually getting his team to play the way Chauncey, because Chauncey, they played an interview with Chauncey where he's like, oh yeah, Sergey and I, like, we're lockstep in how we want to coach these guys, and like we coach them the same way. Like, no, you're not. He's actually getting his team to play the way you're saying you want to play.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's a difference when you're talking about G League players compared to vets that maybe have bad habits that, I don't know, like
maybe
to an extent, but I am never gonna get excited about quotes again. Chauncey, Chauncey burned me there.
But that's where I was saying, like, okay, he's actually backing it up with the way his team is playing, though. Like,
yeah,
they're actually running.
I would say this. If they fired Chauncey, I would be intrigued to have him be the interim head coach and just see. Because we've seen Nate Bjorkgren coach an NBA team before, right? So, like, maybe you have a diamond in the rough, You never know, right? So that's the type of guy you would want to see how he would handle something like that.
And then, sorry if I'm pronouncing this wrong, but then he talked about, because they were talking about Tazemore's vertical leap and stuff like that, and he talked about designing backcourt lofts and stuff. He's like, yeah, I gotta figure out more creative ways to do backdoor lobs. But then he also said that he's one of the best passers on the team too, so he can't do too many to him because he's also got to throw the lobs to other people and stuff. But I don't know. I like the way he was talking about, and I know it's talk, like you said. I can't get too excited, but I think there's a difference between a young coach who isn't just a guy coming in on his reputation and back in my day in 2004 we played this way and we're gonna play that same way, and instead it was like, no, I'm trying to get these guys to do this, and everyone's talking about how much they respect this guy and love playing for this guy and stuff like that. So he's like also a player's coach while getting his team to play the way he wants them to play. I don't know, man. That was we'll have to watch. I mean, it's not a huge sample size or anything, but like it's something to keep your eye on.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said I don't want a retread. I want a new coach. I want somebody with new, fresh ideas that's not coaching basketball in 2025 based on how the game was played when he played in 2005, right? And that's been a gripe with Chauncey, of course. So, like that's the type of guy that I would have interest in. It's just tough, right? Because if you go and interview guys that haven't coached at the NBA level, right, you got to work off a body of work that is not the NBA level. So it's like, okay, A, will it translate? B, some guys just know how to talk, right? They know how to make things sound good. Chauncey was one of those guys. So ideally, you'd want somebody that can, articulate his vision for a team in a way that makes sense, in a way that it should be going forward, while also having some results elsewhere to back that up.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how I need to pay more attention to the remix. There's a lot more than just like playing fast. So
yeah,
I guess I need to watch more remix games.
I like what he was saying though.
Yeah. We're desperate.
They're definitely exciting to watch too.
Yeah. No, I mean, the way the team played under Bjorkgren it seemed like they were playing harder. But I feel like if it was under Chauncey, we'd be saying, like, yeah, man, they beat a completely depleted Mavericks team who lost again today by 10 to the Kings, who have been playing terribly, right? They didn't have Kyrie today, though, so... you're playing a super depleted Mavs team and the Utah Jazz at home and you barely win? Like, why are we applauding Chauncey for that? Is what we would say if people tried to applaud Chauncey for his coaching in those two games. Mm-hmm. It just isn't extended to Nate because Nate's not Chauncey. And I just don't want to get into that trap where, we're just criticizing Chauncey because it's Chauncey and we're praising Nate Bjorkgren because it's Nate Bjorkgren instead, right? Like, if I'm going to criticize Chauncey, I want it to be for stuff that I see and stuff that I know is valid or reasonable. And there is so much stuff that you can criticize Chauncey for that is valid and reasonable and that you can see with your own two eyes that we've been criticizing him for a long time now, that, I don't need to go down necessarily the route of yeah, man, this team just looked better against some of these worst teams, and now they lose tonight when nobody can dribble or hang on to the ball or pass the ball, and they turn it over 26 times. Like, yeah, that's all Chauncey. So that's why I went with a 2. What number would you give it, Eric?
Yeah, I'd probably say 3. But
yeah.
Well, my thing too is, so once again, I kept thinking that, like, exactly what you're saying, Tori. Like, I completely agree with you. And I kept trying to level my head to, like, keep saying that, like, okay, it's one game, first of all. Like, you can't control Deni turning the ball over 10 times or 8 and not being able to catch the ball, like, 4 straight possessions in a row or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So, like, that's not necessarily his fault. But then I started to think about, okay, so what was some of the differences in the last couple games versus this game just from a coaching perspective? And here we are, 4 minutes into both the first quarter and the third quarter. Out comes Anthony Simons and in comes Scoot or whatever. And I thought back to when Nate was the coach and he let Sharpe, Simons, and Scoot play together a little bit. And they played together a few minutes tonight, but I felt like that was something that Nate was trying to get all 3 of them going, and it may or may not have worked, but I felt like we just went right back to, okay, going into this game, this person's going to come out at this time, and it doesn't matter what the heck has happened in the game, you're just going to sub out, and unless someone gets in foul trouble, they're going to stick to this rotation, and then he brings in, I mean, the Klingon and Robert Williams minutes were terrible, and he did it twice. He went back to the same thing in the second half, and I know you can't really Like it's hard to play three centers, so I don't know
Yeah,
what to do
Bjorkgren
there.
didn't
But
have that problem because Robert
right,
Williams was out.
yeah, yeah. But like I don't know. It just felt like um, I don't know. It just seems like stuff like that. He's so rigid, and like I said, I'm trying not to uh base it off this one game, but like it does feel, and we have criticized Chauncey for being so rigid with his
Yeah.
rotations. So like it stuck out to me watching the last few games where Nate seemed to feed the hot hand and keep that person in the game so they could continue their hot streak, and instead it's just like, nope, this is time for you to come out. You come on
Yeah.
out. And so I mean, like I said, one game, I don't know, but like that stuff just it keeps adding up. Like, okay, so why does Chauncey get a pass for this if it's not? I know you're not giving a pass.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm trying to say. But like, why should we not criticize him for this one game and stuff if he's not doing things the way Nate was doing that were successful? Why would he just change that going when he comes back? You know, like why didn't he watch the games and
Yeah.
think
Well,
about like what was working for those?
I just don't think he has a feel for situational coaching.
Yeah,
And that's what I said after
that's an issue.
the last postgame show. Yeah, it's one of his biggest issues. He doesn't really feel out situations, and it's why he could never be a playoff coach. Like he doesn't know how to adjust in the flow of the game. He doesn't know how to adjust his rotations, and that's absolutely valid, right? And that's something we can absolutely criticize Chauncey for. There's a comment
It's weird though because he is a championship player. Like you'd think he'd know how to like
yeah.
what it takes to win games in the playoffs, but
Yeah, but then there's a comment in chat. Shout out to the commentator; they're a channel member, right? I just disagree with being sure of this statement. Okay, there's a comment in chat that says Nate instills confidence in our young guys. It's like, how do you argue against that or for that? Like we have no way of knowing that on a 2-game sample against
right.
bad opponents, right? Like it could be they're more confident because they're playing Utah and Dallas. Then again, they lost by 42 against Utah. But it's all just like kind of arbitrary stuff that you can't really argue or like be sure of. So it's like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yeah, look at Chauncey, like he killed those guys' confidence. It's a possibility that the guys played more confident under Nate Bjorkgren. Absolutely, it's a possibility that they're more confident and Nate was maybe doing a little bit more to get these guys going, right? So I'm not even disagreeing with the statement in itself. It's just we have no way of knowing if that's true or not. And unfortunately, we'll have to see this team under a different coach for a longer period of time and see what the changes are. But it does give you hope that Sharpe and Scoot played really well in 2 games under Bjorkgren and then went back to looking less than stellar, I guess. You know, they were fine tonight, but they weren't as good as they were the prior 2 games. That can give you hope because new coach, maybe that's what this organization needs. Maybe that's what Sharpe needs to take the next step. Maybe that's what Scoot needs to fulfill some of the expectations he had placed upon him when he got drafted. And maybe we're just sitting on phenomenal young players that are being held back due to their coach. Listen, I hope that Chauncey's holding them back, and that's true. Because that's good news. Because you bring in a coach that actually knows what he's doing, and it's going to end up yielding better results, right? So I hope that that's the case. And it's the tough thing is when you really want to believe something, you're more inclined to believe it without legitimate evidence. And that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I don't know. I can't sit there and be sure of it, even though I want to be.
Yeah, but I do think like people like Chris says, I wonder if the team just needs a new voice. I mean, sometimes that's good, just like hearing different perspectives and hearing different things. I was hoping that just having that be a few new assistant coaches this year would help. I don't know what degree that is or isn't helping. But yeah, I mean, I think that might be. You can't rule that out. That Nate, it's not necessarily Nate. It's just that he is different. So the just the feel of the everything between the lineups and the way the game's approached, the way they talk before the game and at halftime, and I don't know. It's just like a little different. So like everything's just the vibe is different, and therefore certain players might play different under that. But it doesn't mean that like Nate could come in and do that.
You know what's funny
like
is
a full season. But.
Yeah, I don't want Nate as the next Blazer head coach. Okay,
I don't either, Dory. Like, yeah,
he lost his locker room in Indiana. Okay, and he's the type of guy like he might be able to what's the word? I'm blanking on the word I'm looking for, but he might be able to get his team amped up and ready to go for a couple of games. But he's the type of guy whose act can wear thin over the course of a season, where he is a little too hard on his players for it being the NBA, right? Like he seems more like a college coach to me in terms of his demeanor and everything. And it's funny because Chauncey coaches more robotically than Nate. Nate in his interviews is more robotic than Chauncey, man. Like Nate, his interviews, man, was just like, man, this dude is very robotic. And I saw like old videos from a couple Pacers fans, like role playing as him and just giving the same answer over and over again. And I don't know. I want a fresh coach. I want somebody that hasn't coached in the NBA before. I know that didn't work with Chauncey. That doesn't mean it can't work with the next guy. It worked with Mark Diagonal. It worked with Joe Mazzulla. It worked with Eric Spoelstra. So go out and get that guy. Get Spoelstra's assistant. Get Chris Quinn. Somebody like that is the type of guy that I'd look for. So, Nate did a good job in the 2 games he was head coach, but it was 2 games against less than stellar opponents at home. We just have to keep context in mind before we just run away with any narrative on this stuff. So, chat, go ahead.
That's why Oliva is interesting to me, because it would fit the Blazers. Like what you expect from them is to like go with a guy who they could kind of control, or like would have a good and would cheap, so I think that might be a direction they look at, especially if he continues to have success in the G League.
Yeah. Your feed was lagging a little bit. I think it's your internet.
Yeah. I might have to restart my computer real quick.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me try it.
All right.
I'll be back.
While Eric is gone, I will give a quick shout out to the sponsor of the stream, BetUS. You can receive a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit, 125% bonuses on your next 2 deposits, up to $2,000 with promo code YouTube150. Later in the stream, we'll take a look at betus.com and see what Blazer-related lines that we can find. There's always trade lines, betting lines for players' next teams, which I always think is interesting to look at because it kind of predicts the trade market for NBA players. Also, earlier today, we picked games on our second channel. Like I said, if you're not tuning into the streams on the second channel, you should. You're missing out. And we pick spreads. We pick the day's games with spread lines brought to you by BetUS on Mondays and Thursdays. And we do chat polls for chat to pick spreads as well. So you can join in on that action. It's a lot of fun over on our second channel. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring the post-game show. You got NFL playoffs right around the corner, week 18. So NBA, of course, college basketball. You got some fun sporting things that, if you want to have some fun, if you want to make it fun, place down a little wager. Use the code YouTube150. I always view like sports betting or betting in a fantasy league. By the way, I lost my championship. I'm 0-3 in my fantasy football league championship in 10 years. I can't even win a championship in that thing. But I always view placing a little money down as just the price of entertainment, right? If you pay, $50 or $100 for a fantasy league as a buy-in, everybody cares all season. It makes it more fun. In a way, you're just spending money to have some fun. If you lose it, oh well, you had fun. You had some entertainment. If you win it, great. If you win some money, great. That's gravy, right? So I view placing down a little bit of money on sporting events the same way. Just have some fun. Just view it as the price of entertainment. Bet responsibly. All that good stuff. Shout out to Anthony. Says he won his championship. Congrats, Anthony. And Smog says, you lost to the resident super team. To be fair, yeah, I lost to a super team, but my whole team fell apart. So I got second. That was the best I could do. But yeah, guys, the Niners are 0-3 in Super Bowls since I've watched them. Gonzaga is 0-2. Washington is 0-1. And my fantasy team is 0-3 in championship games. That's 0-9. How is that possible? Can somebody please tell me how that is possible? It's brutal. I don't understand what I got to do. I guess I got to sell my soul in order to win a championship. Or I have to be more optimistic so I can speak it into existence. But to be more optimistic, I'll probably need some form of therapy. Because it's brutal. It's brutal out here, man. But 2025 is a different year. 2025 is a different year. And we'll take a look at New Year's resolutions here in a little bit. All right, we got Eric back. Hopefully, no freezing. Let's just talk about players from this game as quickly as we can. You know, we're 45 minutes into the post-game show, right? So let's spend like 10 minutes. Eric, who do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about... let's start with Anthony.
Yeah, 25 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds, 9 for 18 from the field, 4 for 10 from 3. Had a good shooting night. And only 1 turnover out of the Blazers' 26.
Yeah. That was that pass you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, what do you want to say about Ant?
I mean, I thought he had a pretty good game. Like, I liked the off-ball screen for him. Got a couple open threes. He did have the record-breaking or the move into third place, and that got stripped from him. But I thought he was pretty good.
Yeah, that's funny that's the shot that gets overturned. Yeah, he was good. He was the Blazers' best player tonight. Good to see him having a good game. We talked about his past 3 games have been kind of rough. I forget what post-game show, if that was the last one or the one before, but he's just very streaky, man. He's just very streaky. One game he'll have it, one game he won't. He's jumper reliant. That's just him as a player, for better or worse. Let's talk about, we already touched upon Sharpe a little bit. 1 for 8 from 3, Eric. And he had some open looks. See, like, some people excuse Sharpe shooting, like, under 30% from 3 on the season by taking tough looks. But, man, he had, like, 3 wide-open threes that he all missed short in this game. He was at 30.1% from 3 going into the game. He's going to be back below 30%. So, it's just – and he made – the 1 3 he made, he got a wide-open look right after that. And the funny thing is he's not really streaky within a game. I feel like he never makes 2 threes in a row. I feel like he never gets in like on a heater from 3 like Anthony Simons can.
Yeah, maybe.
It's just like I if he makes a 3, I don't expect him to make the next one. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. So yeah, he was just short today. I do think like that he leans a little bit to the left, a little bit forwards. Sometimes his arc is kind of flat. And sometimes he just misses short and the touch is off. So, not a good shooting night from him. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought he was okay outside of the 3-point shooting. Did get blown by on defense a couple times. But overall, I thought it was an okay game. Just got to hit the threes.
Yeah, it's kind of sad because last game I talked about, man, he's starting to put together consistent, 20-plus point performances. Maybe he's finding that consistency where he plays at another level. And this game wasn't that. So, listen, this could be an off night, right? Mm-hmm. Hopefully this is just an off night where he didn't make threes And maybe the new consistent Shaedon Sharpe is still here, right? And even the most consistent players will have a single off night, right? So not riding off any improvements, right? But consistency is the biggest thing for Sharpe. And I was hoping he would come out tonight against a pretty good defense and assert himself and be aggressive and have a similar game. But 1 rebound in 34 minutes, 1 assist, right? We roast Jeremy Grant for that. 3 turnovers, just didn't really do a whole lot. Was 4 for 6 inside the arc, so had a couple nice buckets there, but the shooting was brutal.
Can we please run a freaking curl screen for him though? Like he was doing well from 2 in this game.
Yeah.
Like run a curl screen, and the more we run it, the more the defense will overplay it eventually. And then you can have, like, if it's Ayton or whoever setting the curl screen, slip it, and he'll be open for a lob. I don't understand how that wrinkle has not been hammered into this offense, like, multiple times every game. Like, it makes no sense to me, Tori.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, too, they should be able to run that sort of stuff out freelance. Right?
Yeah.
Like, if you got Sharpe down in the corner where he's at quite a bit, you got a big up the line, like guy handling the ball at the top, wave the big down, have him set that pin down, right? It's a pin down, not a curl, but it can effectively be the same if he can get over the top with his defender trailing it all. You like that sort of situation. But yeah, I mean, you got to be able to set this guy up a little bit better than Chauncey has. So that's the hope, man. New coach, new wrinkles that help these guys score the ball easier and get going offensively and reach a new level. But if Sharpe's a star, he has to get it on his own as well. That's what Dame does. That's what like every star does. You give them the ball, they'll find a way to make things happen. They'll find a way to put points on the board. So that's stuff that we've seen from Sharpe lately. Hopefully that continues. But the best version of Sharpe is somebody that you can draw some good stuff up for and really utilize his athleticism and get him going downhill in space where he's good.
Absolutely.
Let's see. DeAndre Ayton, 12 points, 6 boards, 3 assists, 2 blocks, 3 turnovers, 6 for 8 from the field. Like, he had some nice buckets to start this game, and then he did, like, basically nothing the rest of the game and got cooked by Embiid.
Yeah.
Do you want to add anything to that assessment?
Might
I say, this dude will never come close to being a 3-point shooter.
Oh, God.
Oh my God, bro. His misses lately are just, he like flares his arm out to the right and airballs it so badly to the right. And it's like, how are you such a good mid-range shooter? You can't even shoot the ball straight from 3.
Yeah.
Even from the corner.
Yeah. How many rebounds did he have?
6.
Yeah.
3 offensive, 3 defensive. But we didn't give up offensive rebounds. We only gave up 8.
Yeah.
So, it's fine.
Yeah.
You remember the start of the year? Sorry. You remember the start of the year when he was like talking about like putting the ball on the floor more and like becoming a shooter and blah, 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 blah. And a few people got excited about that.
Yep.
It'll never happen, okay? It'll just never happen. I don't care that he's still 26 or whatever he is. It's not going to happen. All right, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, he was outside of a few lob passes and a couple of nice plays at the beginning of the game in between his fumbling every ball. Could we please teach our bigs to not drop the ball when they catch it? Like, especially on an offensive rebound, just go right back up. Like, man.
Yeah.
It's rough, man.
I did like the little post move shimmy shake pump fake that he ended up traveling on. I thought that was like, wow, that's the best move he's made all season. Travel. Cool. Yeah, too much sauce for Ayton. Too much sauce for Ayton. We have a timeout request, but you want to know what my answer to that is? There.
Oh, are you going to time out JP?
No.
Yeah.
There's my answer. Anyway, moving on.
Oh, you should have said you're from Washington and listed a bunch of random California places or something.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Well, Germany. Born in Germany. So, yeah. No, it made me laugh. It was funny. Anyway. Elizabeth Allen says 76ers are 14th in defensive rating. This game wouldn't have improved their season. I don't know what this comment says. But yeah, they were missing Embiid for a lot of those games. So it's hard to just look at their season rating. They're a better defense than that. They're a good defensive team, man. I mean, super active hands. And then.
But that was for someone else, not you.
Got you. Yeah, I'm paying attention to chat now. No, I do not have EU citizenship. I think I can get one. I don't know how it works, but anyway, other players on this team. Or should we just talk about how Gershon Yabusele punked us in the first half? He had 15 points. Gershon. Let's talk about Avdija. I mean, listen. He's been playing really good. His aggressiveness has been really good. Today, it bit him. The thing is, he was still efficient. 17 points on 9 shots. 5 for 9 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, 5 for 5 from the free throw line. Like, they were just stripping him, man. Like, there's that play in transition. He had a clear lane in front of him, and the ball barely got back tapped. And I saw people frustrated with Avdija, but it's like, good defensive play to me. Like, you have a lane in front of you. You're Deni Avdija. You're quick as hell and big. Yeah, you try and take advantage of that and get all the way to the rim in transition. If the ball gets tapped out of bounds and ends up being off you, okay, fine. That's a turnover I can live with, right? The types of turnovers that are more frustrating is when he just, like, the pass between Ant's legs. That's just completely off the mark, right? But I don't know. Ant could have also caught it. So it just the whole team sloppy today. He did have a couple bad turnovers. I felt like a lot of his turnovers were from being aggressive and trying to get into the paint and making stuff happen. And those aren't as bad as being super sloppy, like at the top of the arc or making a bunch of bad passes or that sort of thing. Like, at least he's trying to make stuff happen in an offense that needed him to.
Yeah, I do think there's a little bit of, they were playing kind of a zone defense that was packing the paint, and we kept driving right into it. Like, at some point, you got to adjust.
But what is that? Bad coaching.
Yeah, right, exactly. But yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. But yeah, he was particularly sloppy tonight, and hopefully that's not a trend, because he hadn't had huge turnover issues this year so far, I don't think. So yeah, just scrapped up to one bad game. At least turning the ball over, like we said. He did other things well still.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool about a player like Deni. Like, he can have 10 turnovers and still impact the game, but obviously you don't want the 10 turnovers.
Oh, obviously not, but it's one of those things, like, every now and then when you're as aggressive as he is in the paint with the ways that he scores in the paint, you're going to have some high turnover nights, passer as well. Like, so sucks, but whole team sloppy tonight, man. I mean, it wasn't just him, but he was definitely the main factor. But you look at, like, Klingon had 3 turnovers in 9 minutes. Scoot had 3 turnovers, but he did have 7 assists. I guess we'll talk about him next. 0 for 4 from 3, and he had been shooting a better 3-ball. He'd been shooting 40% on, like, 4 attempts per game in the last 5 games, right? It's a small sample size. I guess he was due for a rough 3-point shooting night. The thing is, Eric, all his misses are very close. He compared to last year, yeah. You disagree?
Yeah. I just hate them. Missing close argument.
Why do you hate that argument? Because if you're all over the place and you're airballing a shot right and airballing a shot left, like, your results are so varied, man. It's not repeatable. To me, if somebody's barely missing, like on a lot of threes and is a 32% shooter, it's a better sign than if somebody's missing all over the place. And Scoot last year missed all over the place. Like, his shot was... he had some of the worst misses. And people would freak out about how bad his misses were, right? What's DeAndre Ayton shooting on the season? You know what I mean? Like, and he's missing the rim by feet lately.
Yeah.
So, some nights you're not going to make shots, and if it's, like, barely off, okay, fine. Night you didn't make shots. I still am curious to see what his three-point percentage is on the season because he has shot better lately compared to the start of the season. And last season, of course, he progressed throughout the year as well. So if he progresses throughout the year this year, then curious to see where he ends up. You know, I'm not gonna be too upset about a 0 for 4 shooting night where all his misses were very close. He didn't take any bad threes, and he had been making threes lately.
Yeah. He did shoot that one. They went under the screen and he shot it right away.
Yeah. Yeah, he's shooting the ball confidently, which I like.
Yeah.
Which I like. Just got to see where it ends up at the end of the season. I do think his form isn't bad. His shot looks a little smoother than it did last year.
Still think he has a little bit of a hitch in it, but...
Yeah, it's the follow-through. It's the follow-through. But it's not like a very uncommon thing to follow through the way that he follows through. Some guys can make it work. So, you know, it's one of those things. He has the hand on the side of the ball a little bit at set point and pops his elbow to get his hand through. And I do think it's gotten better. Which is good compared to last year, because last year was really pronounced. So continued improvement will be great. He is shooting... Going into this game, he was shooting 45% from 2, which is up from 41.6 last year. So finishing a little better. In this game, Scoot goes 2 for 7. So he's 2 for 3 inside the arc, 0 for 4 from 3. Did it feel like his he had the ball less when he was in this game?
Yeah, that was part of my point earlier in this stream. It just seemed like we were running the offense differently.
Yeah.
When Nate was coaching, this one went right back to very predictable, very boring dribble handoffs and not really letting our playmakers playmate.
Yeah. I really do wonder how much Chauncey could be hurting his development or holding him back. Same thing with Sharpe in terms of the way that Sharpe's used in the half-court offense.
Mm-hmm. Definitely something to consider now.
Yeah.
This can't be true. Cody told me we need to watch the interview, the Billups interview. He said something about like normally this would be a 40-point loss. So
can you give me a timestamp?
He said it could have been a scary night and that they've lost by 40 on nights like this. So he's glad they were competitive. What? Come on, Cody. You're Cody's trolling us, right?
The thing is, I would applaud that troll job because it's believable.
Yeah, I know. That would be great. But
give me a timestamp. I will cue it. Okay, I'll cue it up. Oh, he did? He did give us a timestamp? What's the timestamp? Repeat the timestamp.
I think they're saying it did happen.
Oh, he did happen?
Yeah. Someone said he only got asked like one question.
Okay, I'll see if I can find the interview. We can listen to Chauncey's interview. Kamara 0 for 2 from 3. He comes back from injury, 4 for 9 inside the arc. He has some finishes that are just like too wild for me. But he didn't turn over the ball, had 10 boards. Like, he was solid, I guess. And then, the only other player to really play and do anything was Chris. He didn't do much. 2 points in 15 minutes, 1 assist.
It was a +8 though, man.
Yeah, free Chris Murray, I guess. Robert Williams, 11 minutes, barely played, did not score a point again. Remember when he had his first game back and he had like 18 points in 15 minutes?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, I don't think he should be playing the 4.
Oh, absolutely not. Hell no.
And also, I don't know, man. I don't think we played it with strengths. Like, I think we should be involved more in the short roll. I think we should have him more in the dunker spot.
What do you do with the game?
Sometimes, and I don't know, much like everyone.
Yep. All right, Eric, I got it queued up. You ready for this?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
What do you do with a game like that where you get that many fouls and that many turnovers and you can't hit anything from outside?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games that, when you have all those things working against you at one time, you usually have really scary nights. We've had some of those this year where we get beat 40, Memphis, Utah, first game of the season. So, to me, the fact that, to me, we kept it respectable, give up 36 points off turnovers.
Bro, no. He said it's even worse, Eric. It's even worse, okay? If he said, we were more competitive, compared to those nights, okay, that's one thing. He said, we kept it respectable. I just lowered my chair on accident.
Did you, Chauncey? Did you?
You lost by 22 at home. You lost by 22 at home. You were only 6.5-point underdogs before this game. You lost by 22. Your guys turned over the ball 26 times. You got punked in the first half by Gershon Yabusele. And you think you kept it respectable. I just can't, man. He's just clueless. No, that's not a respectable loss, bro. Why do you think that's respectable? Because you didn't lose by 40, it's respectable? Really? That's the standard?
Well, yeah, 22 you can sleep, right? 40 you can't.
Yeah,
wow.
The bar is so low that this was respectable, and that's so sad. I get it, we suck, but you lose by 22 at home. It's not like you played the Thunder. It's not like you played the Cavs. You played the Sixers. They're healthy now, but
with our centers all healthy to go out and be.
It's not respectable, man. It's not respectable. Do you want to listen to the rest of the interview?
I do kind of, but man,
it's only 3 minutes 46 seconds.
I mean, I know we're all out on Chauncey, but could it be any more obvious? He's just completely lost any chance he has of being a good coach. He just doesn't understand what to do. He's lost, man.
Yeah,
we've lost him officially.
Yep, lost him. All right, we'll listen to the rest of this though. Thanks for the laugh, at least.
And you shoot 22 from three. It just makes it really tough. It really does. And that team is good. You can give them credit. That team is really good. They're physical. Defensively, they try to take a lot of things away from you. They're back healthy now. The big fella was like we seen him in his MVP year. I mean, he was great today. So you got to give him a lot of credit. You really do. But yeah, it was rough on us out there.
What went into the decision to challenge that out-of-bounds play less than a minute into the game?
One of the things, out-of-bounds plays, I want to be a lot more aggressive at challenging those things no matter when it is. If we feel like for sure we got it, why not get the ball? More possessions, the better for us,
I mean, but you're going to jump ball against a center with knee issues. So you're probably going to get it back anyways. So I don't really understand. I did not understand that challenge at all, Eric.
Yeah.
Even though they won it, you could have gotten it back and been in the same position anyway.
I mean, at least now you get the second challenge if you win the first one. So I can maybe say okay, if you know for sure it went off of them and you get the ball, you still have a challenge, okay, but it just seems really weird. You're not gonna win or lose the game off not getting that jump ball either.
I know, yeah. If it was their ball, okay, absolutely. If you knew it was your ball, yeah. But it was a jump ball, and you would think Ayton could win that jump ball because it's Joel Embiid's great, but he has well documented knee issues, so. I mean, but okay, he won the challenge. We shouldn't roast him for winning a challenge because there will be plenty of other challenges to roast him for. So we'll move on with the interview.
For anybody, really. But, yeah, I don't care if it will, obviously, when they do it, when it happens. If I feel like it should be our ball, it could be our ball, I'm going.
They go to that matchup zone early in the second quarter. They really didn't leave it most of the game. What do you do on nights like this when you can't find anything from the outside and the turnovers are happening? What do you try to do to get out of that?
The interesting thing about that is I thought we did a pretty good job. We turned it over once or twice, but, man, we got good looks on it. I thought we gave up on our dribble too quick coming off of it, knowing that they had Embiid on the left side down there. He wasn't going to move too much off of his spot, So all we had to do was get there, and we could get shots. So I thought we got pretty quality shots for the most part in that zone. We just couldn't make, but at the end of the day, you just keep going, man. You just keep going. Coming at halftime, we was 14 for 18 at the rim. So I'm saying let's just keep attacking, get to the rim. I mean, we can't make outside, but let's get to the rim.
Chauncey, the problem is how many times did you turn it over trying to attack the rim? Yes, you're 14 for 18. But how many times did Deni turn it over trying to attack the rim? You can't just look at shooting numbers with that, okay? You got to look at, all right, if we shoot 14 for 18 attacking the rim, but we turn over the ball 14 times on drives where we're trying really hard to get to the rim, it's probably not the best move. Like, I don't know what the number was, so maybe it's something they did need to do more of, but scheme guys up to get the ball going downhill at the rim then. Mm-hmm. AKA Sharpe off a curl screen or Simons off a freaking curl screen. You know what I mean? Like it's just he ran some good action, but it was mostly kind of around the arc. Try and get these guys in a position where they can attack. Get the defense shifted a little bit. Try and get these guys lanes then. And that's the problem is like, okay, he feels that way coming out of halftime, and it's like, what did we do to try and get these guys opportunities where they could attack? If that's how he felt. Didn't really feel like we did anything. So.
Agreed.
Anyway. There's a minute left.
Was that it? Oh.
Tried to keep getting there. It just didn't really work out, and then the turnovers happened. They scored easily. Tried to keep getting there. It just didn't really work out, and then the turnovers happened. They scored easily. They scored quick, boom, timeout. You're spinning your wheels at that point. So it was tough.
What were you seeing on a lot of those turnovers? Was it something Philly was doing or just a lot of unforced errors?
It's probably when you have this many, it's a little bit of both. Some of it is kind of carelessness, Some of it is just they're being really, really ultra physical, and they're bumping you off your spot, taking away certain passing angles, and jump switching, some of the down screens, some of the things that we knew though, things that we've talked about all day. But until you actually get out there, you don't really feel it. So it's tough. It's one of the things about being young, and sometimes the best teacher is actually getting out there.
Oh.
And it's also the toughest lessons as well. So, but it was a little bit of both.
Your reaction?
Dude, shut up, dude. It's tough when you're young. No, dude. I'm so sick of the excuses from this dude, man.
Yeah.
Do you think Nate Bjorkgren would say, "Oh, well, we're really young, so what was I supposed to do?" I don't know, man.
I mean, maybe you would after 4 years, but yeah, no, I agree. He just, it's bad.
It's like in the past, he's blamed the injuries and stuff like that, and I know he's gotten a raw deal in terms of what he came to Portland expecting and what ended up being the case. But part of that's on you because of your coaching as well, and man, I just
he feels like disinterested in the excuses are the easy way out, man. Like, okay, you're young, so you turn over the ball a lot. Okay, it's not the only reason you're turning over the ball. Like, okay, yeah, maybe you're not used to dealing with certain defenses, but it's like you got to prepare your guys a little bit better, man. You can't just say like, we talked about it basically here's what he said. We talked about it, but then they went out there and they just weren't ready for it, and it's because they're young. That to me is just like a lack of accountability, because how ready your team is kind of on you, and I get it. He hasn't been here, but he's at practice yesterday, man. So I don't know. That's the problem, is too many games the Blazers are woefully ill-prepared for the way that defenses end up guarding them. And they just sit here with excuse after excuse after excuse, but it's like, prepare better, man. And if he ever says, like, I could help them prepare better, it's not, he never talks about what he could do to help them prepare better. It's always just like, but they're young and we talked about it, and, sometimes you just got to get out there, but it's a young team. But it's also on me. It's also on me. I just got to prepare these guys better. It's just word salad, like political speak to me. None of it means anything. And it's just bad. It's just bad. You have to move on if you're Portland. And the most important thing... Oh, no, I'll save it for New Year's resolutions. I guess we can get to that now.
Yeah, to wrap this up, I agree with Elizabeth Owen here. It seems like he thinks his job is to just tell them that they need to get to the rim. And then, but that's what he thinks coaching is. Okay, you guys, this game you need to get to the rim. And then, because we're really good at getting, our efficiency has been good at the rim, so just get to the rim, and then that's it. That's all he does. He doesn't help them get to the rim. He doesn't design anything to do it. He doesn't emphasize what players should be attacking in what situations, or what players you should be attacking, or when this person's in the game, this is who you want to go after, or what. It seems like he's just being like, oh, well, we just want to get as many shots in the paint as possible.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a bad marriage, okay? That's a perfect segue, all right? Let's talk about some New Year's resolutions, okay? We're going to give some for the Blazers, but you guys can leave your New Year's resolutions for the Blazers, or if you have your own personal New Year's resolutions, feel free to share those as well in the live chat, or if you're watching back after the stream, you can leave it in the comments. I read every comment. Sorry if I don't respond to all of them, but leave them in the live chat or comments, okay? My New Year's resolution: move on from the guys that it's obvious you need to move on from. That's my New Year's resolution for the Portland Trail Blazers. Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Chauncey Billups are the three guys that it is painfully obvious that you should be moving on from in this part of the rebuild. But it's sad. I can't even have full confidence that they'll necessarily let Chauncey go, even though he's been this bad and everybody knows it. Okay? I have a feeling that one of Ayton or Grant is going to be on the team past the deadline, and honestly, I'm starting to get the feeling that both of them will be here. And guess what? That's not even surprising, because this organization has a habit of kicking the can down the road and then finding ways to excuse it, right? Excuses. So my New Year's resolution for the Portland Trail Blazers: move on. Move on from Chauncey. Move on from Jeremy. Move on from DeAndre. All right? You're in a rebuild. You're a coach. You have nothing you can look at and say, yeah, Chauncey's done a good job here. The only talking points for Chauncey Billups is like, man, players really respect him. Look at what Greg Oden said about him, right? Greg Oden said, what better guy to learn from than somebody that won a championship? Like, okay, Greg, you're smart, impressive interviews. Would actually love to have him around the organization, but it's not that simple, okay? Playing is one thing, coaching is another. And the problem is just assuming that it directly translates when it doesn't, okay? The biggest talking point for Chauncey is always about how the rest of the league respects him. If that's your best talking point for a coach that's in charge of the way your team functions on the floor, the product that you give your fans on a day-to-day basis, and the development of that product, and the best thing you can say is other players and teams like him and respect him, that shows to me that you don't have a good coach, okay? Everybody knows it. People across the league know it. Even though they might respect Chauncey, they respect Chauncey because of what he did as a player, okay? Not because of what he's done as a coach. So move on from the people you need to move on to. That's my New Year's resolution.
Yeah, mine is kind of similar in that do whatever it takes to give the people who we need opportunities to be given to the biggest runway to have those opportunities. And that entails what you just said. And that's, I think we need new voice in the locker room in terms of a head coach. I think we need to clear out some of the players that are maybe not necessarily to a detriment blocking them, but just in terms of just being in the way, whether it's minutes wise or running the offense or, running sets for someone that maybe should be going to someone else. It's just all encompassing. Let the guys play that are going to be here or have a chance to be part of the core. Get rid of or bench or do whatever with the guys who aren't part of the long-term solution, and figure out what you have with some of these younger guys. Give guys like Ryan Repair actual rotation minutes every game the rest of the season, and try to see what you have there if you can start to develop some of his skill set and things like that. But overall, just get these young guys as many reps as possible and try to make them good reps instead of bad reps like they were tonight.
Yeah. No, I agree. Chat, leave your New Year's resolutions for this team in the live chat. Okay, I'll read off some of them. All right. It's clearly what this year needs to be about. It's clearly what this year is about, man. Like, you got the draft, of course. You got this upcoming off season, right? But who knows what mode they'll be in this off season? Who knows what flexibility they'll have, what assets they'll have? Like, the problem is, I do not believe they know what plan there is. Like, I don't think they know where they'll be this offseason with their roster. Okay? So, my next New Year's resolution for the Portland Trailblazers is come up with a plan and stick to it. Okay? Which goes hand in hand.
Do that.
Which goes hand in hand with get rid of the guys you need to get rid of. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Come up with a plan, a multi-year plan. So this is more than just one New Year's resolution. Okay? Come up with a long-term plan and stick to it. Okay? Like, this front office, nothing has said to me that they have a plan beyond just whatever the next transactional period is. And sometimes I believe they have a plan going into the trade deadline and then they fail. Or they have a plan going into the offseason and they fail.
Yep. Another one that I have that's similar to what you just said, and that's, I think this is critical moving forward to get your cap situation under control to where you have some ability to make lopsided trades and take advantage of the new aprons and teams trying to work out sign-in trades and getting under the tax or a certain apron or whatever. Get into a situation where you can add assets and enhance your rebuild by setting up your cap situation in a positive way instead of this stupid dance we're doing every freaking year where we're so close to the tax. It just like handicaps us from making the moves we need to make.
Yep. Absolutely. So, honestly, any other New Year's resolutions I come up with would basically be the same theme.
Mm-hmm.
You know, pick a timeline, right?
Yeah.
The rebuild timeline, of course, but commit to the rebuild, right? That's all basically come up with a plan. The plan should be get rid of Chauncey, get rid of 8, and get rid of Jeremy Grant. Beyond that, like, there's literally nothing else, right? Because you got to get rid of those guys to progress to the next stage where we can set new goals for this team. And that's where I want to be, man. I'm tired of, the goals for this team, you got to get rid of this guy and this guy and this guy. And hopefully you get a great draft pick. I just feel like we've been in that mode a little bit too long, and it's about time that we progress to the next freaking stage, which isn't being married to these veterans that we have and married to this freaking coach. Like, there's no reason for him to still be here. Mike Brown gets fired, right? It's like, and Chauncey's still here. Chauncey's still here. And if I can't believe there's still people that defend him. They're very few, but all the defense of Chauncey is his team is bad, therefore he can't be bad. He doesn't have anything to work with, so he can't do any wrong. And then people make up like, if he had a good team, he would be good. Okay, so he's not actually a coach. He's just a fan, right? Good team means he's good. Bad team means he looks bad. Like, okay, so he's having no effect on the team is your point. That's not good. That's not good. If you think he has no effect on the team at all, then why is he coach? Why don't we get a guy that can come in and have a positive effect on the team? But you can't actually articulate anything that Chauncey Billups does positively for this team. You can't. All the defense of Chauncey isn't about what he does well. It's about he can't do anything at all. He's completely powerless.
And I'm going to keep on saying this. I said it a couple streams ago until people will actually listen, Jermaine. Any coach who cannot get their team to play the way he wants to play, whether it's a horrible roster or a good roster, if they are not playing the way you have emphasized you want to play for 4 straight seasons now, you are just not good at teaching these guys how to play the way you want, and that's a bad coach. So you can have the worst roster in the NBA, but if you want to be the fastest team pace-wise, you can do that, or come close to it at least. Like, you can make them play that way. So it's all about having an identity and implementing that system that you have. And Chauncey has talked for 4 years about a system that he wants to have on both ends of the court. Scrappy defense that is aggressive and just punishes teams, and also a run and gun fast break type team. And they do neither of that, and they've done neither of that. And he's had multiple personnel that add 2 good defensive pieces this offseason. They add they added Robert Williams and Tamani last year. My thing is, I look at other bad rebuilding teams, and I can see, like Tori, you brought up Mark Daigneault in the past. I could see what he was trying to do and implement, even though his team wasn't ready to fully do what needed to be done. He was getting them to play that way so that when they were good enough roster-wise, they knew the system and could play that way. For me, it just seems like Chauncey rolls the ball out and wants them to play a certain way, but doesn't know how to get them to do that.
It's this simple for me, okay? If you're just going to sit here and say, the roster sucks, that's why he looks bad, he would look good with a better roster, I'm not even going to entertain that conversation. Because you could put a literal baby in charge as coach of this team, And if the team is bad roster-wise, it'll look terrible under the freaking baby coach. And you could sit here and say, the baby coach would look good if he just had good players, right? This team just looks bad under baby coach because of the bad players. You could say that about literally anyone you ever put in charge as head coach of a rebuilding team. That's why there's no substance behind that statement at all. At all. There's no substance. There's no substance. So that's like the funniest thing when people defend Chauncey is it's like always statements with just an utter lack of substance. Like that's the problem, all right? And if you want to disagree with actual critiques, disagree with the actual critiques. Don't come here and say he would just look better if he had better players. He just looks bad because he has bad players. Like that's surface level. That's surface level. There's no context behind that. There's nothing behind that. You can say that about anyone. In any good team, you could always say, yeah, that coach actually sucks. Even though his team's good, his team's only good because of the players. That's the problem when you just base stuff on a surface level. You could say the team sucks because of the coach. You can say the team sucks because the players suck. You can say the team's good because of the coach. You could say the team's good because the players are good. Like you could say anything if you don't break it down further. So break it down further. Talk about the actual coaching. If we have critiques that you disagree with us, disagree with us on those critiques then. Move deeper, okay, than the surface. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. You don't have to agree with us, but if you disagree with us, make it about more than just the tip of the iceberg in surface level stuff. That's all I ask, man. So, anyway.
That's also like...
that's another New Year's resolution for anyone that wants to defend Chauncey. Go on there.
I'll tie this into college football. It's like the people who say, well, Alabama's a better team than SMU or whatever. Well, they also lost 3 games. So, like, if you want to just base it on default rankings at the beginning of the year where people are just guessing who's going to be good, and then that's your only basis for, like, why a team's better than another team, at some point you got to look at what actually happens with these teams and what goes on. And to me, I don't think you can point to many things that Chauncey does well other than he's respected. And that's not a coaching, like, I mean, it's good to be respected, I guess, but that doesn't necessarily matter.
That should not be the number one thing for your coaches. People like him.
Yeah.
Or your GM.
Yeah. So I don't know what you're hanging your hat on for, like, oh, well, if he had better players, it'd be like this. I mean, and I'm also sick of that because every offseason we hear, oh, well, we got some Chauncey guys this year. Yeah, he picked these guys personally and me.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Okay, so if you don't think coaching matters, why are you defending that coach so much? Why would you? That's
the one argument I hate even more is that it doesn't actually matter. Okay, why are you trying so hard to defend something that doesn't matter then?
Yeah.
It just makes literally no sense to me, man. So, yeah. And Barking Box says, I was listening to the radio broadcast during the game and Holmes was like, this team needs to run more plays like dribble handoffs to set up more action. I'm just going to assume he was trolling or ran out of talking points given to him by the organization and tried to come up with his own. I don't know. How could you actually ask this team to run more dribble handoffs? That's crazy. That's crazy, man. I got closer on that one. I cannot make this shot. All right. Let's look back, okay? We looked ahead. Let's look back.
Well, do you have one for yourself, Tori? Does anyone in chat want to share one?
A personal one?
Yeah.
I don't know. This year was all about like moving into a house. I did that. I don't know what's next, man. I mean, I don't know. Other than like getting in better shape physically and mentally, which is very cliche and very basic, like I don't really have anything. Do you have anything, Eric?
I don't really like resolutions either, but I do want to make some sort of effort to sleep better. I think that's causing some issues for me right now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard with my schedule, but I would like to maybe, like, especially during the off season and on non-game nights, do a better job of going to bed earlier.
Yeah, sleep is important, man. So we'll run through this stuff. We got favorite and least favorite moments of 2024, and then we'll go around the NBA. You don't have to hang around for that. If you want to get more Z's, I respect the need for sleep. All right, favorite moments. Smog says, IDK about resolution, but I'm going for the master's degree this year. Congrats, Smog. Hopefully you get it, man. Hopefully you get it. Shout out to you. Yeah, who the F is Jay Huff, and why is he carrying the Grizz? Oh, yeah, Taylor Jenkins is there. Yeah, he cooked us when he played us. But if he was on this team, bad player. Bad player. Right? We got cooked by Gershon Yabusele today. If he was on this team, bad player. You know, it's funny how when the coach is bad, the players look more bad. That's why you got to actually critique real things. All right, favorite memories of 2024, Eric, for the Blazers or the channel, right? And I feel like favorite memories for the Blazers tie into the channel, right? So do you have any fond – maybe the question isn't what was your favorite memories. The question should be, do you have a single fond memory of the Blazers this year? I have many fond memories of the channel. I'll start with this one while you think. Favorite stream memory was the final stream at my OG place, the place I streamed from for 5 years, the place I built the channel, the MD 2020, getting wasted on stream. That was like the day before I moved to this place. I got the keys for this place, so I was super excited. That was my favorite stream ever. Shout out to you if you were there for that. Was that your guys' favorite stream of the year? Was that your favorite stream of all time? Let me know. Let me know where that moment ranks for you. But that was my favorite moment, Blazers Uprise moment of 2024. Eric, what about you?
Honestly, this is gonna sound bad, but I think it was losing some of those games at the end of last season when we didn't think we were gonna get up in odds, and then it gave us a chance to get pretty high. What did we finish? Tied for third or something?
Yeah, tied for third.
That was it felt good at the time. I mean, then we had the lotto and it didn't help us at all, but yeah. A bunch of people are bringing up the stream where my wife farted. That was classic. Yeah, that was a good one.
Your favorite memory is us losing. I thought we had better memories than that, though.
I was talking about a Blazer one.
The Deni trade was fun. Like, having that happen on draft night was kind of chaotic.
Yeah.
But it was cool that we did something.
Oh yeah, your cat stream was good.
Oh yeah, the cat stream.
I like that one.
Yeah.
You ordering the Mad Dog 2020 was also good.
Mm-hmm. Chat, what was your favorite Blazers Uprise memory of the year? Let us know in the chat. Okay, it can be something super specific, like our reaction to a Chauncey interview or something. But, yeah, I mean, we started off the year with Malcolm Brogdon playing for this team, and the year. That's like the only guy we got rid of.
Seems so long ago.
I know.
But 2024 flew by, man.
Yes and no. I don't think it flew by at all. Personally. I think this was a slow year. Slow year. Was that stream where a graphic of Tori's face was somehow covering Eric's face this year or last year? I don't even know. I don't even remember what he's talking about.
I don't either.
The Banton trade is Alex's favorite. Yeah. Yeah, man, unfortunately, there wasn't a ton of top moments. I mean, we moved down the lottery. We draft Klingon, which was cool, I guess.
Yeah, like all our big streams. So like the draft, I mean, I guess, yeah, it was good that Klingon fell to us, but, we're kind of disappointed we fell to 7th.
I just realized.
We're more happy we didn't give up an asset to trade up.
I just realized this graphic says
Mommeries? Wow.
favorite mommeries of 2024. Guys, what was your favorite mommery? What is a mommery? Is that somewhere you go to find a mom? I don't know.
Garben, stop, bro. What the heck? I'm sick of having to hide your comments. Like, no, someone talking about something that actually happened on the show is not the same as what you were joking about.
Here we go. All right. Those are my favorite mommeries, all right? Did I misspell this one, too?
What are your favorite memories?
Yeah. Least favorite memories. Here we go, Eric. Least favorite memories of 2024. For, like... We don't have any bad memories on stream, right? But so it's probably like least favorite Blazer memory. And it could have been a good stream memory because when the Blazers suck, we find solace in our streams. But least favorite memories. Moving down the lotteries up there. Oh, wait. First, we didn't talk about Dame's return was definitely one of my favorite Blazer memories of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely got to put that on that list. But least favorite memories of 2024.
Oh, can I have that be my least favorite too? And the Blazers didn't do much.
Yeah.
People are smart. Says 60-point losses. Yeah, which one?
The thing is, those are kind of fun for me because they just become funny, and I actually enjoy them in like a weird way. And then the streams are popping. So, yeah.
Yeah. So
Scoot saying food was his biggest learning experience of his rookie season. That was down there for me because I'm hyping this dude up as like, guys, I feel like he's gonna take a leap this season. Just wait, and then
it was the food that I ate,
and it was like, man, come on, you can't be doing that. Dame getting traded is your least favorite memory. Good thing that was from last year, Johnny.
Yeah, that was not in 2024.
Yeah, that was 2023. Anyway, least favorite memories.
Yeah, so for me, it was just. So I look forward. We have another big stream coming up, February 6th, the trade deadline stream. Let's go. But looking back on 2024, the trade deadline, we did nothing but trade a protected second-round pick for Delano Banton. And, I mean, you can argue that it ended up being good, whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. It's still disappointed that was our only move at the deadline. We go to the draft lotto stream. We fall to 7th from, tied for 3rd. So we basically fall one spot short of the worst possible outcome. The draft was cool because we made that trade for Deni, but then it also took away one of our picks, so we didn't get a second pick to talk about. But then we're hyped because we have these second-round picks at 34 and 40, and not only do we trade them away, but we ended up trading them a couple times and just accepting cash back at the end for both of them. So we don't even get like a second-round pick to talk about. Then it's a few days later, the draft or the free agency stream, which I'm also usually really hyped about. But the Blazers haven't done jack crap in free agency for the last few years, and we don't sign it free agents apparently. So we had a pretty full roster anyway, so we knew we weren't going to sign anything. So for me, it's like all those big streams this year kind of, as they're still fun because, we're such big NBA fans and nerds when it comes to the CBA and trades and stuff like that. But in terms of the Blazers and being a fan of the team, it just felt like it was a big thud this year, and it's like a kick in the groin as instead of Cronin kicking the can down the road, it felt like a kick directly to our groins, right?
In a way. Yeah. The big streams this year were fun because they're big streams, but we did not get any favors on any of them. And unfortunately, I kind of have a feeling it's going to go the exact same way this year, man, in 2025. Knock on wood, like just moving up in the lottery would be fun, or signing a single free agent.
Yeah.
That's the who's the biggest name free agent we signed the last 2 years? Moses Brown is like is he the only free agent we signed the last 2 years?
Like
and
outside of our team, yeah.
We cut
signed
Devontae Graham,
but we cut him, yeah.
The only guy we signed and had on opening night in the last 2 years was Moses Brown.
We had 2 ways, but yeah.
In some 2 ways. And then we sell our second round picks. And that second round kind of sucked because it was just weird to have it in a studio. Like, I thought that was stupid. So, hopefully we get a freaking Grant or Ayton trade, and that will already beat everything from the big streams last year, not counting Avdija because that happened before the draft stream, right? So, trade deadline, draft lottery, free agency, draft night.
I told you as we were going live for the draft
because I was prepping it, and you were like, "Have you heard?" I'm like, "No." Like, we got Avdija. It was like, what the hell? So, yeah, leave your least favorite memories in the chat. JP Savage says, "Oh, I have another channel related good memory. The mock off season. Yeah, the mock off season. Shout out to all you who participate in that. Yeah, that's always a good memory. Although this year it's going to be even harder to run it myself. So we're going to have to, and for you too. I don't know. We're going to have to figure out something. We're going to have to figure out something there this year, but we'll do it again. Yeah. Hopefully 2025 goes better.
That wasn't this year either, Anthony.
What did Anthony say?
Letting Thibault walk to free agency to Dallas.
That was
2023.
Yeah. Our memories are getting bad with old age, guys. So.
Man, what if we have like new coach stream, new like big trade stream, and selling the team stream in 2025?
Move up in the lottery.
And we move up in the lottery.
Number 2. We can't go for number 1. Okay, well, that's just, since we're dreaming, we move up to number 1.
Well, speaking of that, Tankathon, what pick are we tonight?
All right, let's figure it out. I got to load it up here real quick. All right, there we go. We got the Tankathon. Blazers 6 best odds. They were 3.5 back of 5th place. Damn. They're 3.5 back of 5th place.
Where does Desmond giving his girl a massage while calling into the
that's my least favorite memory of. Like, why are you doing that while calling in and we can hear it, bro? I was so just like, I didn't even know what to say, and I didn't want to be mean, so that was maybe the most awkward moment on stream of the year. So shout out to Desmond for that, because yeah, that was a little strange, man. My least favorite memory of 2025 is going to be our team getting auctioned off. If you know, you know.
That was supposed to already happen, wasn't it?
Was it supposed to already happen? Yeah.
Did Desmond lose his court case?
Yeah. I mean, thank goodness we still have our Portland Trailblazers. That's all I'm going to say.
Senior Moolah, you weren't there for that? You missed an epic one.
If you guys aren't in the Discord, you guys got to join the Discord. All right? This is what you get for not being in the Discord, okay? You're not in the know with these types of things, like the Blazers getting auctioned off as a state export. All right? All right, let's do Tankathon. Good old Tankathon. All right, we got 37% chance at top 4. Can we get it? Let's simulate and scroll up. Will we get lucky to end 2024? I mean, lucky on Tankathon, not other ways you could interpret that. 14 is San Antonio, 13 Golden State, 12 is Houston via Phoenix. It's funny that they're 12. 11 is San Antonio via Chicago, because their pick's only top 10 protected. 10 is Detroit. So far, so good. 9 is OKC via Philadelphia. 8 is Sacramento. 7 is your Portland Trail Blazers, a repeat of the Sharpe year.
So Brooklyn moved up. And Clinton last year.
We're just destined to get 7 or 3, Eric.
Yeah.
6 is Utah. 5 is New Orleans.
So Utah and Brooklyn.
Utah and Brooklyn. Utah's at 6. Toronto's at 4.
Oh.
So we got Brooklyn, Charlotte, Washington.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. The all Eastern Conference teams, top 4. The Western Conference teams got screwed. At 3 is Charlotte. At 2 is Brooklyn. And at 1 is Washington.
SAR and flag.
Yep. Whoa. All right. That's a wild one. Sacramento, Portland, Houston via Phoenix. That's a fun one. Who would Sacramento? Sacramento would take Cooper Flag. They got De'Aaron Fox. For now. I haven't spammed Sims in a while. How long will it take for us to get the number 1 pick? Oh, there it is. Portland, Philadelphia, Chicago. Cooper Flag, you are a Philadelphia 76er. Would you rage if we took Dylan Harper over Cooper Flag, number 1? Would you be mad?
I think that's still yet to be determined.
Like, let's just say draft was today and we had the number 1 pick.
I don't know if rage is the right word.
Yeah, you don't do that anymore. Unfortunately.
Well, I mean, give me something to rage about. But
Chauncey tried tonight.
I do. I don't. I would understand what they were doing. I would just have a hard time picking the guard over a wing / forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I get it.
I don't think I would be like super pissed off. I think I would be willing to see how Harper is in the NBA first, but yeah.
Harper's a future top 5 player and the greatest Blazer ever after you rage upon us drafting him. We could not rage if we drafted him over Cooper Flag because he could be so good that clip would bite us.
We had to sacrifice Scoot as the one who followed a legend so that we could get a better legend.
Yep. Something like that. It's all lore. Anyway, just to wrap up this game, let's take a look at the team stats. That turnover number is ugly. I mean, Philadelphia turned it over 19 times, so they also tried their best to turn over the ball a ton. Points
well, like most of those were in the first quarter.
Yeah. 36 points off 26 Blazer turnovers for the Sixers, and 11 for 24 from 3. Blazers 8 for 36. Blazers did not shoot well from the free throw line. Blazers won the points in the paint battle. They won something. They rebounded decently well. But
see, what's crazy is I know they got 31 free throws, but they only shot 24 threes.
Yeah.
And lost the points in the paint.
Yeah.
But still hit more than us, taking 36 threes.
Yeah. That's true.
Do we ever hold teams under 50% field goal shooting? Except for really bad teams.
We got all this talk about how this defense is solid now, but yeah, we never do. We never do, man. It's brutal. Brutal. Let's take a look at the schedule. Every game we lose by like 20 to 25. And every game we win by like 2 to 4 points. So our net rating is disgusting. Our adjusted net rating is like second worst in the league. I mean, just look at that. Look at that schedule there on the left. Next game, 7:30 p.m. tip-off time. So that's a late game on a Thursday night. Eric, I'm sure you're excited for that. Talking about how you need more sleep. You're going to start off with the first post-game show of January being 7:30 p.m. tip-off time on a weekday because it's in LA against the Lakers.
Maybe I'll take a nap before. Oh, no, I gotta.
Well, picks against the spread.
I'm coaching my daughter's basketball team.
Gotcha. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, on Thursday, January 9th, I might not be there at the start of that post-game show, so hopefully you will be there. That's retro night. We got to get some 80s wigs, Eric, for retro night on the 9th. But the Blazers won't have a home game until 11th against the Heat, the hated Miami Heat. That will be trade idea night. We'll take your trade ideas. We'll review your trade ideas. So be ready for that night. We'll also release our third big board on January 6th. So that's coming up. Excited for that. Anyway, yeah, next game is against the LA Lakers. 18 and 13 right now. They do play tomorrow. I forget who they play against. But that'll be a picks against the spread loser challenge. So if you have any ideas for what me and Eric should do, whichever one of us loses and picks against the spread, it's probably going to be me because I suck. And Eric's been number one. I can't figure it out. I don't know what I did how I did today, but yeah, that'll be a picks against the spread loser challenge. So I got a candy necklace that I got to eat on stream for the last one still. So hopefully I won't stack up another L to Eric, because back in the day I lost the Blazing Wing challenge. I could recreate that. You know what I think we'll do too? Maybe I'll post the footage from the Blazing Wing challenge in 2020 to TikTok. If TikTok's not banned, I don't know what the deal is with that. Make sure you follow our TikTok. Maybe I'll do that. I need to start posting old clips for the nostalgia. But anyway, that's the next game. Really quick, I do want to go around the NBA. Look at NBA scores. Eric, I don't know if you want to stick around for this or not, because I know you're tired.
Go quick.
All right, let's go quick. All right. We had the Knicks beat the Wizards again. I took the Wizards plus 13, and they lost by 20, of course. Big L for me. Karl Anthony Towns, 32 points. Valanciunas, 22. Former Blazer Malcolm Brogdon, 18 points. It's not the only former Blazer. There's going to be many former Blazers on these graphics, okay? You'll really know what I mean in a second. Alex Sarr continues to play well offensively, 18 points. 3 for 6 from 3. The Knicks moved to 23 and 10. The Wizards 5 and 25. Kind of jealous of that record right now, not going to lie. Next game, you had the Charlotte Hornets. You had MB almost record a triple-double. 13 for 32, though, 2 for 13 from 3. He had 31 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists for the Hornets, but they lose to the Bulls behind Kobe White, Torrey Craig, and Patrick Williams. Good performances for the Bulls. We'll see what they do at the trade deadline. We'll see if they blow it up. The Hornets, of course, a team the Blazers are chasing in the lottery standings. Mark Williams had himself a great game, 9 for 9 from the field. You also had the Clippers beat the Pelicans. A couple former Blazers had big games tonight against each other. Norman Powell continues to play great, 35 points on the night. CJ McCollum for the Pelicans, who are 5 and 28, have won one game in the last 44 calendar days. Despite being healthier, they're still without Zion. They're still without Ingram. What they have right now is not enough to win basketball games. But, of course, I took the Clippers as 4.5-point favorites, and they win by 3. So, tough day for me in picks against the spread. But big games for Harden and Zubac there for the Clippers. Yeah, the Nuggets beat the Jazz 132-121. The Nuggets were 7.5-point favorites and almost choked the spread. It was a brutal picks day for me, Eric. I'm kind of calculating this in my head what I went, but
4-4, I think.
Disgusting. I'm so mid. I'm so frustrated with it. Jokic, insane stat line: 36 points, 23 rebounds, 10 assists, triple double, 14 for 34 from the field. Jamal Murray and Christian Brown scored 20 points apiece for the Jazz. Johnny Juzang, who's played good against the Blazers this year, has been getting some burn, and he had 14 points. I think he might be able to make it stick as a rotation shooter, scorer off the bench as like a 9th, 10th man somewhere. He's been impressive this year. Colin Sexton, he's a name to watch in trade talks. He has 22 points for the Jazz, who the Blazers are also chasing in the tank standings. Then you have the Dallas Mavericks, okay? You know how I brought up former Blazers, Eric? The Mavericks lose to the Kings 110-100. They had 30 points from Dinwiddie. They were without Luka Doncic and without Kyrie Irving. Very short-handed. 28 from PJ Washington, who had a great first half. And Brandon Williams. Bet you didn't think you were going to see a Brandon Williams signing. Yes, that Brandon Williams, the former Blazer, 10 points, 2 assists for the Mavericks. It was phenomenal to have a chance to put former Blazer legend Brandon Williams on a final score graphic. The Kings get their first win under Doug Christie, 33 from Fox, 17 from Sabonis, 14 from Malik Monk. That was my double down. At least I covered there. And the Cavs beat the Warriors. I believe I was 5-3. Maybe I was 4-4. Cavs beat the Warriors 113-95. They continue to tear up the league, 28-4. What an insane record. Garland 25, Mitchell 23, Jared Allen had 12 points. For the Warriors, Steph Curry only had 11 or 12 points. He was very quiet in this one. It was Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga with the best games for them. They're young guys. Moody, 7 for 8 from the field, 19 points for him. Kuminga, 18 points. Trace Jackson Davis had 16. All right, we got to update these standings. We'll take a quick look at the standings for both the East and the West. Jonathan. There's always going to be a typo with how fast I have to make these graphics. But let's take a look at the Western Conference standings. First, you got the OKC Thunder, 26-5. They continue to stretch out their lead there. It looks like they're going to be the 1 seed again. The Blazers down there in 13th. They lost a game on the Kings today. Doesn't look like they'll get 12th, but it was funny because I think I predicted 13th before the season, or maybe it was 14th. And it was because the Jazz are just as bad, and there's going to be a team that's super injured. The Pelicans are that team that's super injured. The Blazers are 6.5 behind them. They're 5-28. Worst record in the league right now. It'll be very interesting to see how much more Zion plays for them this year or Ingram plays for them this year. And Ingram should absolutely get traded with a year left on his contract because he could definitely leave. But, standings picture, not too much different. You do have the Clippers moving up to 5th place. It's going to be super interesting to watch that play-in picture. And then as far as the East goes, the Cavs continue to stretch out their lead as well. Now 5 games up on the Boston Celtics, just like the Thunder are in the West. The thing is neither of these teams feel like necessarily like the clear favorite. I know the Thunder are the clear favorite to make the finals in the West, but also they lost to the Mavs last year. They aren't unbeatable. They're still young. The Cavs, nobody views them as the favorite in the East. You got the Celtics there that I think most people would take over them in a playoff series right now, but I feel like the Cavs maybe aren't getting enough love to make it out of the Eastern Conference and make it to an NBA Finals. And then the Hawks have moved up to 5th place. They're a half game above the Bucks and the Heat. We'll see if they can continue to win games and continue to stake their claim as a top 6 team there in the East, ahead of some teams that people thought were going to be better than them going into the year. The Sixers, though, I have a feeling they're going to be top 6 or 7 at the end of the year. 13 and 17 continue to play well. So how high do you think they can finish, Eric?
Well, a lot depends on health, but I think they could easily get up to 5th,
Yeah, I think that should be the goal. They're only 3.5 back, which is kind of crazy given how bad they started the season. Remember, the Bucks started the season bad too, and that's a memory. They won the in-season tournament, the NBA Cup. I got to call it by the correct name. So there we go. Those are the NBA standings. All right, so we'll catch you guys again on Thursday with the stream on our second channel, Picks Against the Spread. We'll talk about any trade rumors on that channel, so make sure you subscribe. The second channel is called Blazers Uprise Podcast. There's a link in the description box below. Actually, go and click on that link and subscribe because you don't want to miss the trade talk that we get into. Also, we'll pick games for picks against the spread. Not sure how many games are on. I'll look this up. We'll see how many games are on Thursday for us to pick from. All right, we got Blazers, Lakers, Pacers, Heat, Celtics, Timberwolves, Nets, Bucks, Clippers, Thunder, Sixers, Warriors. Some good games there. So that's 6 games for picks against the spread on our second channel. That, of course, is powered by BetUS. If you use code YouTube150 on BetUS, you'll receive a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit, 125% bonuses on your next 2 deposits, up to $2,000. You can get in on action for picks against the spread. I keep saying we're going to look at spread lines for picks against the, or not picks against the spread. I keep saying we're going to look at spread lines for trade destinations. We'll definitely do that on Thursday because we got less to get to. We just keep running out of time, unfortunately. So we're going to take a look at spread lines, and we'll give our thoughts on different spread lines for the next team for a bunch of different trade targets, and we'll use that to guide our trade talk on Thursday. And we'll give you advice in case you want to get in on that action. If you do want in on that action, use that code YouTube150. And that's it. 2 streams on Thursday, second channel before the game, and then post-game show right here, as usual, after the game. Anything else, Eric?
Everyone have a fun but safe New Year's Eve tomorrow night. Hope everyone has a good time celebrating. Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and for watching. And hope to see you next year.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next year, man. Blazers cap off 2024 in a very fitting way. 26 turnovers. They lose by 22 at home to the Sixers. We'll see if they can start off 2025 on a better foot. But 2025 is the year of change. Move on. Move on from Chauncey. Move on from Jeremy. Move on from DA. But especially move on from Chauncey. Please. Please, man. Anyway, we are out of here. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your night and enjoy your New Year's. Shop BetUS for sponsoring and stream. And until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers!